It feels like gaming is finally back after years of shoddy AAA launches, missed deadlines, and dead-on delivery live service games. Tons of devs from across the entire game industry just debuted their upcoming titles and technologies at Gamescom, and it's truly impressive just how many visually stunning experiences are right on the horizon. Now, one title that is turning my head, go figure I'm a Battlefield fan, is Delta Force, Tencent's stab at a Battlefield-ish killer. Now, you'd be forgiven for not recognizing the Delta Force brand. It's a pretty old game. It started in 1998 and was one of the first tactical shooters on the market. The franchise pumped out many titles over the years, with its last one being in 2009, but overall the IP was overshadowed by many of the other tactical shooters that came out. But this new take on Delta Force may be changing that. Let's talk about everything we know right after a quick word from today's sponsor. Do you ever feel like technology will be our undoing? AI supercomputers, humanoid robots, wouldn't it be great if you could just fight back against it all? Well, now you can in this new sci-fi dystopian shooter where rogue technology has devastated the world. Nanos, these crazy robot alien things, roam free, and it's your job to take them down and, well, loot them, of course. The game is built around both PvE and PvP missions. There's tons of loot to, loot, and hordes upon hordes of hostile nanos to kill. Sync's levels each have 5 sectors, with every sector getting progressively harder. The goal is simple: clear the nanos while scavenging for new weapons and upgrades. Simple on the surface, but extremely challenging as you progress further. You also get a companion that has their own abilities and buffs. There's tons of weapons and abilities that synergize that can make everything from your assault rifle to your pistol a devastating platform of destruction, and the best part is, it's super satisfying putting down the nanos. If you're looking for the next game to play with friends, Synced is it. Check out Synced using my link to add it to your Steam wishlist and play the game for free when it launches. Alright, so the new Delta Force Hawk Ops trailer shows off a game that looks like, well, Battlefield. You can fly vehicles, including helicopters, an A-10 and an F-35 aircraft. You can drive tanks and APCs, choose between 4 classes: Assault, Sniper, Engineer, and Medic, starting to sound a bit familiar here. There's also an extraction mode called Hazard Operations, which honestly sounds very similar to Battlefield 2042's Hazard Zone. 3-man teams that search for loot, fight AI and other squads, and then extract. Then they have Havoc Warfare mode, which sounds similar to Battlefield's Frontlines. Conquer land, sea, and skies with unparalleled team warfare. It's built around a 2-way offense and defense style of play, so probably the Frontlines formula of attack and defend. And then for its campaign, they actually remastered the franchise's Black Hawk Down missions, which I played way back in the day, and they were really fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like in this new remastered engine. I would imagine that these will probably be unrecognizable when comparing to the first game, considering just how simplistic the visuals were back then, but it's an exciting theater of war nonetheless. Now, Delta Force Hawk Ops is also using hero classes, which may not appeal to the core Battlefield fans, and frankly, it seems like it could be a misstep depending on what audience they're trying to grab. Just like Battlefield 2042, they are built into the traditional class system with their own special abilities. There's B Colony, who has a UAV drone that can provide directional smoke screens, which are shown in the trailer, and then he can use lock-on tech to heal team members, multiple at a time, and he also gets a passive where squad members that he rescues get full health. Then there's Luna, who has a recon arrow for highlighting enemies along its trajectory, with volt arrows also to shock certain areas, and her passive spots enemies that she's damaged. And then there's Direwolf, who gets an overload mode that boosts his sprint, fire rate, and provides health when he kills somebody. Basically a berserk style ability. He has a wrist blaster that fires projectiles that can also be used against vehicles to damage them, and his passive is a tactical slide. Finally, there's Shepard, Shepard, who has a UAV that can suppress intel stuff like the recon arrows, has sonic traps that slow and damage enemies, and a passive that makes him take less damage from explosives. This is probably the least appealing part of the game to me. Some of these abilities sound pretty gimmicky, especially having the assault class with the only one that has a tactical slide seems kind of like a weird choice there. Some of it sounds cool, like drones that can provide directional smoke so that you can cover a longer stretch of ground and still be visually concealed. So that sounds neat, kind of innovative, but the rest of it all sounds a little gimmicky, especially the bow and arrow stuff integrated to the gameplay. Sounds like they're going for less milsim and more fantasy military stuff. Now, on the plus side, well, potentially anyway, the game is going free to play, which seems crazy given that they're offering quite a bit of content here, especially that Black Hawk Down campaign. One does have to wonder how intense the microtransactions with this game will be. Some games have handled it really well. I would put Caliber into that category, where they don't make it pay to win, but who knows how this one's going to take it. Also, Tencent is behind the project, and it's being developed by mobile developer Timmy Studio Group. Their biggest hit to date is Call of Duty Mobile, so it's not exactly a confidence booster when it comes to them developing console and desktop games. We'll just have to see how they do. The gameplay itself looks sort of like a hybrid between Call of Duty's more arcadey action and Battlefield's mixed combat scales. So run and gun gameplay with abilities paired with bigger levels, vehicles, and large scale modes. Considering that the original Delta Force games leaned much more heavily toward milsim mechanics, it'll be interesting to see how the more casual design works. Granted, I don't think the main audience of this game is going to be built up from OG Delta Force fans for the most part. Now, visually, it is an impressive looking game, but it doesn't come without some drama. Operator Drewski put out a tweet a few days ago, or an X rather, showing a few visual issues with the game that he spotted in the trailer, one of which highlighted an exact copy and paste gun running animation from Modern Warfare 2. It's possible that this animation was ripped from Modern Warfare 2, or that both developers are buying animations from the same animation library, or even that because Timmy made COD Mobile that maybe they're just using recycled assets, or they even made the animations for Modern Warfare 2 with the permission to use it for their own game. Are recycled assets really that big of a deal at the end of the day? Well, obviously theft is a big deal if it is theft, but if it's just recycled, I think most players are just going to really care about the gameplay and less about reusing assets. So we'll have to see if this game can deliver on the impressive visuals. I am getting sort of a Chinese knockoff vibe from it, but it's too early to really form any concrete impressions about the gameplay. Regardless, a game being positioned as a free-to-play Battlefield alternative is nothing to dismiss. I'll be watching this one for more info as we get it. Now, From Software came out swinging last year with the reveal of the new Armored Core game Fires of Rubicon. Now that title is just a couple days away from launch, and the final trailer for the game is honestly insane. Considering it's been 10 years since the last entry in the franchise, fans are pretty excited for this one. From Software hasn't released a dud in, well, ever, so it's a pretty safe bet that this game's also going to be solid. And it's honestly impressive just how faithful it looks to the old school origins of the franchise while still going toe-to-toe with modern visuals from today's games. Few developers do third-person mech combat as well as From Software. Hopefully it lives up to the hype. Another game that I'm actually surprised that I'm excited for is Assassin's Creed Mirage. There's been over 12 entries in the franchise, and while I've really enjoyed some of them, there's been plenty that I skipped over. But this time around, Ubisoft is boiling things down to the bare essentials. They're cutting back on the RPG elements in favor of a more traditional narrative adventure with a linear progression through the game's open world. It's set in the 9th century Baghdad, and they've split it up into 4 different districts, and it's a small but more densely packed world than the recent games. Mirage is also heavily stealth focused to the point that they're introducing a new ability called Assassin's Focus that slows time after a stealth kill and recharges with each subsequent kill. Hopefully the reduced scale and renewed focus on a more linear progression means that the game won't take, 120 hours to beat. Now, something really cool that Nvidia just debuted is an RTX upgrade for Half-Life 2, and it might be one of the most exceptional visual overhauls of a game ever. And the crazy part is that this isn't actually being done by a massive company. It's being done by a community-based modding team called Orbifold Studios. And not only is this visual overhaul staying extremely faithful to the original presentation of the game, but Orbifold have implemented ray tracing and they've dramatically increased the overall detail of the game without stripping it of its identity. And implementing ray tracing requires a lot of groundwork. And the work they're doing here really does look like it's on the quality of just a total remaster. And the team behind it is going to release it for free. So, I mean, it's kind of awesome that Valve gets a free remaster of one of their best games ever made. Other games that saw a bit more information on the stage that I'm interested in checking out would be Homeworld 3. I played all the Homeworld games growing up. They look cool. Modern Warfare 3 got a little more gameplay if you're curious about that. Killing Floor 3 got a reveal trailer and it looks really nice actually. The visuals look like a huge upgrade from the previous game. We got more Starfield gameplay, which I'm pumped to play very soon. And we got to see some Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty stuff, which looks phenomenal. Now, there's a lot of other stuff being shown off at Gamescom. These were just some things that piqued my interest, with Delta Force sort of being at the top of that list. I'm very curious to see if it's a competent game or if it's going to just be a crappy clone. Only time will tell, but it is kind of exciting seeing all these Battlefield alternatives come out of the woodworks. EA has certainly opened themselves up to let other people steal that market share, and well, they've been doing exactly that. What do you guys think about the new Delta Force trailer? Do you think it's going to be solid? How about the rest of the Gamescom reveals? Let me know in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. And next up, check out this video talking about why live service games fail. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.